Guys, thanks for being here right now. It's unusual that I actually live stream in the daytime, and trust me, I have a lot of things to be doing. I have studies to do, but something has happened within the last 24 hours, or since I did my show. I did a live stream on Sunday night, and I talked about a few things, and I talked about this particular community that we all either have belonged to or have, this niche, this grouping of people that we are, our little own subculture of the main culture, right? And we know specific people in it that are public personalities. For example, Miles Johnston, Simon Says, Simon Parkes. There are other hosts out there that have been questioning the ethics or the things that people say in this particular media. Now, it is perfectly legal as a content provider or anybody. When you talk about something or you investigate something and you examine it, it is perfectly okay to examine people, especially if they're a public personality, of which Sarah Rachel Adams is. She is very prominent in this particular community, and she had close proximity to a death of somebody that we all listened to. I mean, a lot of us did. I'm not saying everybody that's come to my channel had listened to what he had to say, but he went into the mainstream media as a documentary by the BBC. We're talking about Max Spiers here. Max Spiers was a UFO conspiracy theorist that had a suspicious death. And even to the point that we've all seen, mainstream clips of Max Spiers' mother talking about how she felt that, her son had warned her, had said, if I end up dead, investigate. And she said that he was exposing some high-level things going on, some things going on with high-level people. And, I'm going to give a background if you don't know, but many of you do know. I have been in a media that, I am not a UFO discloser. I have never, said that I had special psychic abilities or that I, worked for the CIA in, special secret space programs or anything like this. However, I personally did find it interesting, and I started to watch Carrie Cassidy's Project Camelot and her guests. That was the beginning. I did watch, some of Miles Johnston. I ended up actually interviewing Miles Johnston on American Freedom Radio, and I had, discovered what you would call a super soldier program, right? Okay, coined by Carrie Cassidy, and Max Spiers was one of the people that came out and talked about being a super soldier. I'm just giving a little bit of background. If somebody happens to see my channel and wants to know what I'm talking about, I always do this because, believe it or not, I am connected to many different demographics of people, and I have created things in different demographics of people over my lifetime, just so you know. All right, there are some people that know me from being on a TV show called Last Comic Standing as a reality television star or a stand-up comedian. I have been a professional stand-up comedian for over 30 years, but I branched off into a lot of different things. And in some ways, I did become, I did do some sort of online documentation of actual events that happened. Protests, things that were happening in the moment. I did live stream and cover those events. And I won't go into all of those things, but I've been toying around and playing with media for a while. All right, so I want to talk about Sarah Rachel Adams for a moment. First of all, I want to point out that there are several people, several other hosts that are talking about Sarah at the moment. One of them would be Stephen Cambion from Truth Seekers. He has investigated her, and there are a lot of people that are questioning her, whether or not she's fraudulent or not. And Sarah, at this point, has been marketing herself, or started to market herself, as an interdimensional life coach, which begs to reason what that exactly means. But I guess she's meaning, that she's able to coach people's lives in other dimensions that apparently a person's soul is connected to. And how did she get from that point to from being a super soldier, from coming out on Miles Johnston's Basis Project, which is quite questionable right now? Even the fact that there have been some serious allegations about him in terms of content that he's been creating in his own home. And this can be looked at and examined and wondered about by what he's posted on his own website, which I also did a show on before. Now, let me reiterate what's going on with Miles Johnston. Apparently, Miles Johnston is claiming that he was arrested like maybe 3 weeks ago to a month on rape allegations. There's also in print or in emails to various people where he claims that his computers and his mobile device may be seized. I also want to point out that I know I'm going to get to Sarah in a second. I'm going to get to the nugget, but I want to just give this information out and make this argument for you guys, or for anybody who's watching this. We cannot confirm with the Melksham Police Department, and I may pronounce that wrong, it's in the UK, but there's nobody that's been able to verify whether or not Miles Johnston was in fact arrested. I have also received emails from John Irwin, where John Irwin was replying to Miles saying, "I think you made this up." There are other people that do think that maybe Miles Johnston has made this up. We don't know. And I can't say whether he was really arrested or not, or whether he's made it up or not. I don't have a decision on that. I don't really think it's really my place to say one way or another. I'm just letting you know the conflicting kind of information that is coming down my pipeline from people. All right. So that being said, I was talking about how when I did my paper, because, I've let people know that I have decided to go back to college. And for the moment, I changed my major from being a theater arts major. And let me reiterate, I went to college 30 years ago almost. All right. It was 29 years ago that I was in college, and I was a theater arts major, and I was performing in the productions at school. And then from there, I went to an acting school in Pasadena, and I became a stand-up comedian. And my biggest claim to fame was I got recognition for being one of the top 10 comics, funniest comics, the one with the most potential to go forward and have, a sitcom. I was like one of those people on a show during a genre of television that was exploding that year. All right, that was a very unique experience to have. That is my background. I get people telling me, they act like they don't believe me, or they just try to brush me off. But just so you know, if anybody's had any type of public recognition in the mainstream media, probably the most, other than maybe Max Spears, right, would have been like maybe somebody like me. But you know what? A lot of times I've been in this media doing shows, and I haven't really mentioned it, or it hasn't been really a part of the past of me, or maybe whatever. Now I'm at a point in life where I've been in a certain type of media, and I found out that in my research, in my personal experience with knowing some of these people, and actually have participated or believed at what they were saying at that time, I have been in another type of media on the internet. And with the explosion of the internet, the ability for just anybody to get in front of a camera or a webcam and talk about what is going on has exploded an entire media, which frankly, a subculture that has gone completely to the mainstream media with QAnon, because the same characters that I'm talking about, like Simon Parkes, was birthed out of Miles Johnston. And now someone like him is actually participating in taking over Asian and Indian cooking channels and spewing still QAnon stuff. Now, why am I calling it QAnon? If you're new to my channel, what is QAnon? QAnon, just think about the 17th letter of the alphabet, and it had to do what happened at the Capitol building. That's how serious this is. I don't see how anybody can sit back and act like this is not serious. And anybody who may have been associated with it, even remotely, may ever actually be on some sort of watch list. That's bad itself. You think that isn't happening? What do you really think is happening? What do you really think about how this plays out in bipartisan politics? And what did it come from? It came from the desk of Miles Johnston. One of the people who spewed it, Kerry Cassidy. How many times has Kerry Cassidy had Simon Parkes on her show as a legitimate guest? How many times? Oh, well, why aren't their channels around anymore? Well, why do you think their channels aren't around anymore? All right? I mean, I don't mean to get passionate about this, but this is a really tangled web here. And what, is it threatening if I figure out how to actually really write something, or I really understand what media is, or I really understand what journalism is? Because maybe I got a story to tell, a truth to write, a book to write. Is that threatening? Is that what the problem is here? That I have to be harassed and cyberbullied on my Instagram? And let's just get to Miss Sarah Rachel Adams for a second. Here's what the problem is, and I'm going to show you guys a couple of videos. I've already covered this material, so I don't have time really to waste today to repeat what I've already been saying on my channel here. And I will say it again. I will summarize it briefly for you. I will show you the videos. I will put them in the chat here. You will see where you can research and watch this yourself and verify and vet exactly what I'm saying to you. Now, a lot of us already know that Sarah Rachel Adams was Max Spears' boyfriend. And Tahinder Gill, as we know him, was associated with Miles Johnston. Now, if you check Tahinder Gill's background, he's an IT guy. He's an IT tech guy with computers. He has a certain amount of knowledge. As a matter of fact, somebody, and I can't really vet it, but they said he was known as being a hacker. All right, so I'm just throwing that out for you. He was kind of like, I don't know, for a while, to me, in my opinion, when I first came on this scene, kind of like Miles Johnston's right-hand man, working with the bases. I saw him do a video about any of you TIs out there that are having a problem. And TIs, just so you know what that is, that's targeted individual. All right, that's somebody who has been targeted either by the military or whatever. They got gang stalking, things of that nature. And this media makes it to be some sort of supernatural thing, like perhaps aliens are involved. And this media acts like they are able to help these people, right? I mean, like what does Sarah Rachel Adams advertise herself now? A psychic. She has a, what? Did she have a cure or a remedy for corona, which she sourced was taken from the virus herself? I know this. I've uploaded this before on my other channel. I still have the real screenshots of the real screens she said. That is like being a snake oil salesman, and I pointed it out. How could she make a homeopathic remedy for a virus that at the time not even the pharmaceutical companies were using that to make a virus out? That is an erroneous, fraudulent claim. That, and I pointed that out. So did Steve Cambion on Truth Seekers. But when I want to ask Sarah Rachel Adams, are you cyberbullying and threatening and blackmailing Stephen D. Camion and the guy from M Truth Seeker who exposed your bogus med beds that's supposed to take us to the 22nd dimension and heal us and go into our Akashic records and help us find our alien family, right? Are you actually cyberbullying and threatening them, Sarah? And you know what? I'm going to show you guys the last thing that she posted on my Instagram. And why is she activated again? I'll tell you why I think Sarah Rachel Adams is activated, or that Taj can make tweets and insulting tweets on my Twitter and CC them in me saying, I don't have to explain anything to you because you're a loser, a failed person living in an RV. So therefore I'm not worthy of knowing what the truth is. But here's my problem with what I have observed. And these are the questions that I proposed to both Taj, who is now Sarah Rachel Adams' manager and has been kind of managing her or part of Sarah's team for a really long time. Because Taj, before Max died, Taj was hooking me up. He was the go-between for me to interview Christine Hart and also interview Sarah. Taj was becoming the interloping person with hooking up interviews for these guys. And I was assuming at the time in the past in association with Miles Johnston, because he was still with Miles Johnston. Guess where Sarah Rachel Adams was birthed at? Her first interview was with Miles Johnston, and it was at the Henderson, Nevada Super Soldier event, created by Lorian Fenton from Revolution Radio, which I used to work on. All right. And Sarah was there, James Casbolt was there, Max was there, Carrie Cassidy was there. That's that first initial interview that they have of James Casbolt and Max Spears in one of the hotel rooms there. That's where all this was birthed. And so also did Sarah get interviewed by Miles Johnston, I think at the hotel she was staying at the time of Henderson, Nevada. Right? But who else has been birthed out of Miles Johnston? Simon Says, Simons Parks, who is playing out in the 17th letter of the alphabet right now in our politics. And if you think for 1 second that is not causing a divide in the United States and it's not being used as a political platform, you are blind and you do not understand what is happening here. You know what? I watched a friend of mine equate that if people who don't, it wasn't a friend. Let me take that back. It was the actor Michael Rappaport, who also is a comedian. On his website, he was talking to a guy, and he just profiled him as being anti-jab, anti-this, anti-that, right-wing, must have loved Trump, and must be involved with what happened at the state capitol building. That's how dangerous this stuff is going. And what media perpetuated it? What media birthed it? I would say our media did. And if that's the book I'm going to write, or if that's the story I'm going to send or publish or put on my blog, I think it would be a good one. Because I've been on the inside of it and I've watched it go down. And it touched me. And it caused me a lot of stress. Enough stress that I actually called the FBI to report what was going on with me. And rightly so, because I had death threats, I had all kinds of stuff going on here. So let's get back to Sarah for a second, all right? Let's go back to the time, and I'll show you what the video is. A lot of you guys know this because I've re-uploaded it to my channel because of the fact that Carrie Cassidy's channel went down. Other people have also mirrored this, but it was the first interview that Miles Johnston and Carrie Cassidy did after Max died. During that interview, yes, Sarah was mentioned as being his girlfriend, but then another woman named Sandra DeRoy, who is a filmmaker in this particular media for targeted individuals. And she became part of Miles Johnston's film festival. This woman came on and gave her testimony of her last days with Max before he died. And she said that Max had broken up with Sarah, hadn't communicated with her for several months. I think it was several months. And that he wanted toxic people out of his life. I also, and I'm going to show you that there, and I will play this video just so you guys hear it. I also have a video by Vanessa Bates' permission, who is Max's mother, where she confirms that Sarah was not in a relationship with Max before he died. All right? Also, she confirms that he really didn't know Taj all that well either. And yet, both Sarah and Taj have gone on and spurned a complete narrative of the details surrounding Max's death. Now, here's where I have my problem with. All right? There's a little detail about, because we know that Max Spears' cell phone was damaged because it fell, we think it was damaged, because as the story goes, according to Sarah, that she was sexting with Max while he was in the bathtub, and his cell phone fell in the bathtub. And that was the first thing where they said, oh, it was destroyed because he dropped his cell phone in the bathtub. Then Vanessa asked Monica Duvall, can you give me the SIM card? And then when she got the SIM card, and this is an official story too, because I have verified it with Vanessa, and Sandra and Taj said on Sean Atwood's show, let's get back to Sean Atwood's here, because Taj and Sandra went on Sean Atwood's show, talked about this story, and talked about how it was scratched and that it was sent in the cover, in the inside of a book about human sacrifice, which everybody said, wow, that's really creepy. Okay? That's the official story right now. Now, here's my question. A little bit before Sandra DeRoy, who already had a connection to Sean Atwood because she'd already been on one of his shows before and she's interviewed him. And by the way, let me point out too, that Sandra DeRoy has also interviewed Simon Parks, all right, and John Wedger, and many of the other people that perpetuate certain conspiracies that get your YouTube channel shut down. All right? I'm just going to say that out there right there too. So she comes on the scene and does a video and says she has new information that she should have came out and you know, she's held on to this, but she claims that Miles Johnston told her, because she was going to go to Poland and meet Max. Miles Johnston told her not to go because they were going to do something to Max. And then they said something, well, you better not go or I'm going to beat up your pretty little face, right? That's what she said on her YouTube channel. That's what I mirrored on my other YouTube channel about what was going on. All right. And so now she's coming out and bringing, yeah, there may have been foul play. Not only is there foul play, but Miles Johnston may be implicated of having previous knowledge of that foul play. So then when you're, you know, thinking about it, you're like, okay, well, why didn't Miles do anything about it if he knew that something was going to happen to Max? And why would Sandra be threatened not to go to Poland because something might happen to her? Because these are really serious allegations. Not only did Sandra say that, she also made comments on my last YouTube channel about it, and so did Christine, outing Miles at the same time. But I find it interesting that on Miles Johnston's old Basis Project channel, before it was taken down, he was uploading still to this day, or to the date that it left, Christine Hart's videos from Revolution Radio. So why is he supporting her and giving her a platform if she's actually pointing a finger and calling him guilty? I have questions about that. So here's my question. If Sandra DeRoy says that, that Max didn't have it, that Max and Sarah were not together at the time of his death, And if Max's mother even says that they were in the time of his death, then how did the cell phone fall in the bathtub and get waterlogged because he was actually sexting to Sarah? How did that happen? Because that's a missing piece for me. And I asked one more thing. I said, why is Taj going on Sean Atwood's show and sitting with Sandra DeRoy again, creating a narrative of what we think, who made him an authority, first of all, on Max's death, basically. And why were they on there together? And then on Sean's show, he says, I'm Sarah Rachel Adams' manager. So how is it that Sarah has a completely different story about her relationship with Max, and Sandra has a completely different story about the truth about what was happening on the last days of Max's death? How is it that those two, that he can sit there and allow those two narratives happen and not address it? All right, and so I want to put another thought out for you. When they took this to the BBC, when the BBC found out about the suspicious circumstances around Max Spear's death, who was the go-between between this story and the Daily Mail and all the other rag mags that ran something? I'm saying some of them are rag mags because Sarah got a huge public push, a big public push, enough to catapult her into asking, I guess, for I don't know what her price is for readings, $250, the going rate. I've heard $5,000 before, that she can be this, we're almost nearly a world-renowned psychic. How is it that she became his fiance in the papers? Don't tell me that didn't do something for her career. I mean, I'm just trying to find a motivation to mess up and come up with different stories. You don't think this is important? I think it's important because it means that our media and the people that have been dispelling the truth or trying to tell the story about somebody's death have conflicting stories, and yet they break bread and they sit at the same table. If that doesn't make anybody want to ask questions, then I'm sorry that you're not there yet. But I want to ask it. I've made note of it. I feel like I have the right to ask it. And I have the right to ask it on my channel. But look, guess what happened? Guess what happened now? Because at the end of the show, I'm going to show you the filthy pictures that she's used. And I believe it's her who's done it because, okay, let me say for three different reasons, I think it's Sarah. One, Sarah tried to go after me before when I was exposing her a year ago. And when I was in a relationship with another media host, I'll just say it, Stephen D. Kelly, she sent me an email and said, I'm gonna hurt you, basically. And I'm gonna tell Stephen that you told me that he's sleeping with underage girls. Now, I'm not necessarily the biggest fan of Stephen anymore, and I don't really like his media. I question it, even though I've done shows on his channel. But I would never say something like that about him. Because why? Because it's not true. And I caught another profile on Facebook because I was an admin for his Facebook page, and they were trying to find him and tell him this information, and I intercepted it. That was the first thing. Also, let me point out, and I'm going to show you this because I took a screenshot of what Sarah recently did on my Instagram. And I have gotten a word from Jeffrey Reed. Okay, here's what Sarah did on her most recent Instagram. I'll show you here. She basically threatens to call my college up and tell them that I'm stalking her and that there's no way that I would be even near being a journalist. And then, yes, I told you on my last show, I've said this several times, Terry Joyce is a stage name, but it is registered with the Screen Actors Guild. And I've been known as Terry Joyce for practically 30 years. And I've worked all over the country as it. And by the way, I've been paid under that name. I have another legal name on my driver's license that is my married last name, and I'm not married to him anymore. And yet even got that wrong. And now she's accusing me of using somebody else's persona and making money off of them. You know what, Sarah, if you call my college, I don't see how you're going to look like a buffoon, in my opinion. You have no facts. You have no screenshots. You have no evidence of me doing any of those things to you other than questioning this one narrative, questioning you and Taj about the legitimacy of what you're doing. And yet I am getting threats. Not only, and let's just talk about this because I have another video about this. She also accused me of threatening to rape her. No, threatening that I was going to rape her. That I sent her rape threats. And she tried to get other media hosts to do a story on it. How do I know? Because I was given the screenshots of it. And guess what? It's in the video when I'm talking about it. And the reason why I'm bringing it up, because you need to know it before she tries to do something to me. And I'm having a hard time focusing right now. Once again, Sarah has seriously disrupted my well-being and my peace of mind. Not only this is that she called CPS, she tried to call CPS or threatened to call CPS on Jeff Reed. He's the guy who is one of the producers of Kevin Moore's documentary about Captain Mark Richards. And she also went after Carmen Joy, who was in a relationship with James Casbolt, and she lost the custody of her daughter for 6 years. Oh, not to mention the fact that Sarah also tried to report Max's mother and call CPS on her after she was caring for her daughter's children after she passed away. I'm sorry, Sarah, but you don't seem like the empath. You don't seem like the psychic intuitive that you claim that you're going to be. And I'm telling you, people need to know exactly what you're doing. And my thought is that you're doing it because you're not answering my question. You're harassing me. And the more you harass me, the more it's going to make you look like something ain't right. So I suggest you stop before I end up taking legal action, because trust me, I have enough evidence to do it. I suggest you stop. Okay, so I want to show you guys. Sarah. Okay, so I'm seeing this going down here. Some of you are making comments. I'm gonna address this too. Wow, you guys are all here. All right. Raven says, so the deflectors are up to it again. Yes, they are. Sarah, Enema Adams needs to be exposed for the awful person she is. It's KB. And the reason why she's being called Enema Adams, because for a long time she was a big proponent of colonics. Hi, Terry Joyce. Hi, Stephen Dubershire. I remember Revolution Radio. Wow, time flies fast. Yeah, I know, huh? I think it's still on. I think they're still up. Wowie. Sarah is more like a vampire. Charles Unleashed, good to see you here. Hi. I mirrored your channel about what you said. It seems like we're all kind of getting it right now. All of us who are questioning these characters, Simon Parks, Miles Johnston, blah, 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 blah. We're getting this weird, harassment. Or drama, maybe I should say, or what type of therapy background she has. That's a good question. What type of therapy or background does she actually really have? Red Herring Media. I would love to live in an RV. I love the fact that you're calling yourself Red Herring Media, because I just made mention of that because of what red herring is. It's red herring, by the way, is meaning that when you're making an argument, or you say you are making an argument, and you bring out a point, and the person who's ready to speak again actually changes the subject and makes it veer off to something else. That's called red herring. Red herring media. Well, you know, all right. And also, hi, Terry, I'm up early. Oh, hey. Yay. Shout out to Australia. Biggie, I'm hungry and get some tacos. Oh, I love tacos. Go get it. Okay, red herring says, but I don't have a license. Beth Bloomer, is it SRA or TASH, sinking ship and jumping off again? I think it's SRA because of the pattern of her spelling, which is not good. Also, the pattern of what she's doing, like the threat is the same every time and the same kind of, I'm going to do this to you, blank, 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 and blah, 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 blah. And, you know, also the first Instagram stuff, which I put to music in a video, by the way, which, you know, I can't help it. If you're going to give me material, I'm going to be creative with it. But the types of abuse, the drawings of the penis going towards my mouth and this and that, I'm on several of my pictures and everything. She did the same thing to Carissa Renteria. I might said her name wrong. Who's also was on Miles Johnson's show, and has done videos of you know, like, I don't know, like, you know, like kind of like also questioning Sarah. All right, also questioning Sarah, but that's not what she's about. She's like a spiritual healer kind of thing, I think, right? So, you know, but Tina Black, a profile named Tina Black, was like Sarah contacted her saying, "Oh, you hooked up Terry with Carissa." And there's proof of that going on. And so she went after both of us on both of our Instagrams until all of the profiles were blocked. Okay, so let me see. Okay, Michael Williams. So this is what happens when you shine the light on these people. Miles is on PC right now defending his arrest. You were threatening their money-making schemes, except more, I'm sad to say. Well, yeah, but you know what? Here's the thing. You know, again, I'm not the only person, but other people, because Stephen Cambion's getting his share of, you know, hey, we're going to report your channel stuff going on. Everyone, I guess there's a price to pay for all of us, you know, in terms of, you know, when we're exposing these people, and it's not making them look less guilty. You know, again, Sarah, come on my show and let's talk about it. If I misperceived what I'm saying, come on my show. Let's talk about it. I've invited Tash, but Tash just blows me off. He says, "Well, I've explained it in the small group on Facebook that I was no longer part of, and I already have my answer." No, we want an answer. The public wants an answer. Our community wants an answer. Our community deserves an answer because we lost somebody that we cared about. And you guys put yourself in a position to be the speakers, the ones closest to about the information. Hi, Genocide. Hey, Terry Joyce, listening while I work. Oh, you're working right now. Don't get in trouble. All right. Beth, now that would be worth watching in terms of content. Okay, it would be worth watching, right? I mean, you know, if you guys don't have something to hide, then, you know, I guess, I don't know if you call it red herring, but, you know, it's another term. But when you insult the person, like, you're not worthy of me saying anything to you, and then do it publicly, call you a loser publicly on Twitter. Twitter is a public forum, you know? It's a public forum. Okay, so let me go to my YouTube channel really quick. I'm gonna put some stuff in the box here that if you guys want to look at. But you know, many of you are already up on this topic, so again, I don't necessarily want to be redundant, but I don't want to be saying things without sourcing myself. So I'm giving the sources that you can look at later because I don't really have the time to share them today. But Okay, maybe I didn't. Let me make sure that I have my volume on it. There is one that I do want to play for you, and then I'm going to go to my Facebook page so that you can see the actual what she wrote. Because, again, I want to show that she's actually been writing something. Okay, over here, this right here, okay, this is my commentary that I did already on this topic about Shawn Atwood's interview with Sandra DeRoy and Tahinder Gill. So this is the show, as you know, I uploaded a couple of months ago. This is the interview that Kerry Cassidy did with Miles Johnston. If you go towards the last 20 minutes or so, you'll see Sandra DeRoy saying that Max was not in a relationship, or he told her that he wasn't days before he passed away. Now, did they make up right up before and nobody knew, with Vanessa or whatever? Who knows? This right here, this one is Vanessa Bates' testimony, and this I'm going to play for you, okay? Just so you can hear it. Let me put myself back in here. Here, we'll go like this.
Hi, Terry. I just wanted to respond to some of the things you'd said on your latest YouTube. The relationship with Max and Sarah was over before he went to Poland, and that was the end of it. He wanted to keep away from her, but was also very enmeshed with a mess that was going on in Poland. So I absolutely know that his relationship with Sarah was ended before he went. And I also know that, well, I don't know, but I don't believe he was sexting in the bath. It's highly unlikely, and I believe it was something quite other. So, no, I do not believe for 1 second that there was any reconciliation going on with Sarah and Max.
All right, so did you hear that?
Just final thought is that, of course, Taj did not know Max at all, and Sarah and Taj and their friendship began after Max was not with us anymore. Max would not have tolerated what went on with Sarah and Taj. That much I know, and that much Sarah knows. But no, Max was his own person, and what went on in Poland and the terrible events that led to his death were to do with the people in Poland.
Okay, so did you hear that? All right, first she says it's highly unlikely that the cell phone... It's highly unlikely that the cell phone was dropped from sexting. That's Max's mother. Highly unlikely that the cell phone dropped by sexting. Highly unlikely. Also, she mentions that how they did not really know each other. Did not really know each other. I don't know what's more proof than that than Max's mother. Right? I mean, come on. That's pretty hardcore right there, even if it's just her own confession of it. All right? And that's what and Tash and Sandra DeRoy have that information on Shawn Atwood's show. That's their narrative when you watch it. All right? So I'm going to go ahead while I'm talking to you and put these in the chat. Give me a moment here. I'm going to do this one first. This one is my commentary on Shawn Atwood's show. Now, you can, if you want to. Oh, come on. Let me do this. Copy. Copy to the clipboard. There we go. Okay, this is my commentary on the interview on his show. All right. And the next one I'm going to send is going to be, well, you heard the one with Vanessa Bates, so I don't have to send you that. This is this is the interview that Carrie Cassidy does right after Max Spears' death with Miles Johnston. And this is where you can hear, Sandra DeRoy's testimony. Okay. Those two things I want to send to you. Another thing that I want to do is just take you to my Facebook page. I would have had these things out earlier. I am having a little bit of an internet issue, so sometimes I don't want to just have it. I mean, I don't want to weaken it before I have to. Okay, let me go to my profile. It's going to take a moment. And let me pull this up here because it literally is my last, I think, pretty much my last post. So you can see it. I want you to see it with your own eyes so that you know that I am not making things up. It's very important for me to show you the real things. Okay. So here she says, that bitch that always wins is the name of the profile. I think I'll give your college a call. Let's see what they think about your online stalking and craziness, which has nothing to do with legit journalism on any level. By the way, Terry, your real name isn't even Terry Joyce, and you stole, again, bad spelling, very indicative of Sarah's real writing. Because a lot of things are written, and she has a team of people that does her social media, so she doesn't write everything that comes down the pipe, and you can tell the difference. By the way, your real name isn't Terry Joyce, and you stole so much money from a woman under your real name, Teresa Randall. That is not my real name either, and I do not spell my name with an H. So, okay. Now, well, hold on. Let me share it again because let's go into the to the comments. Let's go into the comments. Right? Well, I mean, maybe I shouldn't go into the comments because maybe that would be considered doxing people. But you can look at my Facebook page, and it will remain up on my Facebook page. And let me reiterate too. There's a cross section of people that are looking at it. It's not just our community. Once again, I'm not just connected to this community. I have a past, and like I said, I've done shows like I did Hollywood Hemp Hour for cannabis legalization. All right, I got that thing going on. I did, comedy things. I did, this, that, blah, 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 blah. I've got friends from all kinds of parts, different people. My Facebook page is, I've got, friends that I've known for years on my Facebook. I have childhood friends on my Facebook page. Not, my personal page. Why do I post it? Because I'm protecting myself. Because I have posted more than one thing about stuff like this. I do it to protect me and to control, to tell what is. I have a right to defend myself. I have a right to show, hey, I'm being harassed by somebody who claims to be a psychic healer. Make what you will out of that. I feel like I sound like, CW Chanter. Make what you will out of that. Shout out to CW. Another person talking about this, although he doesn't really focus on Sarah. All right, so let's just see. I want to see some more of your responses before I go here. It's not going to be too long of a video. Eloquent video say, hello, Terry. Jeff says, Sarah Art Adams changed my DNA when she swallowed. Okay, wait, all right. We'll let that one go for right now. Beth, LOL. I just Googled what you meant. Has she been around? Let's see. Beth Bloomer in response. SRA was instrumental in calling CPS on me filing a false child abuse report. There you go, guys. I don't even have to show you my Facebook page. That's Jeff Reed confirming what I told you earlier here. I'm not making this up. I'm not. How awful is it to go after a man who lost his home in the Paradise Fires, and then because you have a problem with them, I don't know, exposing stuff, talking about the Captain Mark Richards, story, that whole thing. How is it that you're going to threaten a man who didn't even have a home, struggling to care for his children? You're going to call CPS on them. That is just pure maliciousness, and it needs to stop. Pointing. It needs to stop. It needs to stop. Old giant face. Let's just call her old giant face reptilian cat lady from Aldebaran. Was it in the 33D universe of pig people? Oh, I love it. Let's see. KB is talking to Jonocide. Let me see. All right. So at KB, I'm not sure, but she spent most of her life in Texas. Yeah, isn't there now? If anybody has anything on their record, I think we found a public mugshot of Sarah being arrested for something to do with a registration, something on her car. That was whatever in Texas. So if anybody has a record, it's not me. I don't have an arrest on my record. I've never been arrested. I've never been in jail. Okay, wait, I did sit in a cell once because I had an expired registration tag that I had not paid for when I was 23 years old, but my boss bailed out my bail, and because it was, bailed out before I went to court, it was considered detention, and I never was officially booked for anything. All right, that is the truth. I do know what it's like to sit in a jail cell, all right? But other than that, I don't have anything in my record. And I've even been vetted by the federal government and worked a federal government job. All right, recently, and there was nothing on my record. I'm a clean whistle. So good luck, Sarah, and good luck on having any evidence of me doing anything to you, because I have you blocked. And then you keep creating profiles to come after me. Anyway, see, Jeff says I have the photo of her mugshot. See, it's out there. We live in an age where we can find out anything if we want to. So anyway, I'm going to just leave with this one last video, which I made, which exposes has screenshots of her cyberbullying on my Instagram. So, and it has music. So I'm going to go ahead and share that. Oh. Let me go to, it's here right now, but let's take this off. And, oh, here it is. Okay, and before I do this, I want to expand it and just make sure that I did the music right. Okay. All right, here we go again. Here we go. Oh, and I see just a few more comments in the chat before I leave here. I want to see. Okay. All right. Yeah. Okay. So I'm gonna show you. All right. Thanks for being here. Hope all of you are well. and I'll see you next time when I can do another show, or I have a reason to. I'm a little. I was a little slow. I was off for 2 weeks because it was my first 2 weeks of school. But I'm going to definitely try to at least do a podcast twice a week, and I'm going to try to do more content once I get in the rhythm of everything. So let me go to here. Here we go.